Keys to becoming a great defender. I'm Tony. Welcome back to Streetball Strategy.
Like shadows cast, hustle drills, yeah, I build that fast. Defense forever, offense can last. Don't worry, offense will come through, but defense is art and the hustle's true. Sprint back quick, know what to do. A fortress of effort built by a few.
Today we're talking about key elements that can help you to become a great defender, if not an elite one. But first, I think it's important to talk about why defense isn't really valued as much out here as offense is. I think it's important to understand that because once you understand why defense is undervalued and offense is probably overvalued, that can help you to understand how to become a better defender than the average player out here. So let's get started with talking about keys to becoming a great to elite defender. The obvious answer as to why defense is underrated and all of the attention goes to offense is because that's where all of the fame and fortune comes from. If we're talking about the most popular form of basketball on the planet, the NBA, most of the fans that watch the NBA are casual fans, meaning their knowledge of the game isn't that deep. So when they're watching games, what they care about is, what is the ball handler doing? How is the ball handler going to score? And the better you can score, the more rich and famous you can be in the NBA. And if you're a young player whose goal is to make it to the NBA, the way you get noticed by scouts in AAU, high school, colleges, how well can you score? And scoring, especially consistently and scoring a lot, game after game after game, takes a lot of energy and effort. And so if your main goal is to get attention by scoring, then that means you need to conserve as much energy as you can and save it for the offensive side of the ball, which means in order to conserve that energy, players don't really play defense. They save energy on defense so they can use it to score with and get the attention. Now, when we're talking about out here at the park, outdoor recreational basketball, where the goal is not to get to the NBA and get attention from scouts, the problem remains that the vast majority of players out here can be casual players. The same fans that watch the NBA, those casual fans are also casual players. So when they come out here, they're imitating what they see on TV. And what they see on TV is what they themselves have created because they only care about scoring, seeing NBA players score. So when they come out here, that's all they care about as well, is scoring the basketball. But they don't care about defense because they don't see it and they don't want to see it. They don't want they don't want to see their NBA heroes playing defense because they don't care about that. So then they themselves come out here and they don't play defense either, which is kind of good for us in a way. That means the majority of players out here are not going to be playing real defense. So when we do, that kind of automatically sets us apart. The question becomes, how? How then do we actually play real defense so that we can differentiate ourselves from the average players out here? When we're talking about what makes a good defender, what differentiates a good defender from all the other players out here, to me that is the same exact thing that the players that are avoiding playing defense, the reason they're avoiding it is what makes us a good defender, and that is the energy and effort it takes to play defense. They avoid using that energy and effort on defense because they're saving it for offense. Us, we play high energy, active, aggressive defense, and then we also play as hard as we can on offense. That's what makes a good defender. The willingness to put in the effort and energy and work, the physical work, into playing that kind of defense. And I understand that there are some players who say, okay, I do want to be a good defender. I do actually want to play defense. I'm not just out here to fake it like many players do. But the problem is, when I do play defense, I'm just tired on offense. I get that that problem exists, but understand it is a very resolvable problem because usually it's just a matter of conditioning. You should be able to play absolutely as hard on defense as you play on offense every possession, every game, 4 hours. You can do that. You can get to that point. It's just a matter of conditioning. Now, obtaining that conditioning is hard. It's very difficult. It's very strenuous, but it is attainable by pretty much anybody. You just have to be willing to put in the work to get there. And if you're not motivated enough, if you ask yourself, why should I do that? Why should I put in that much time and effort into playing defense? If that's the problems and questions that you're running into, the only thing I can tell you is you got to figure it out for yourself. I can't answer that for you. You got to figure out yourself, your personality, and your game, and figure out why this means so much to you, and let that be your answers for the times where you're like, why should I do this? Why should I put in the time and effort? If you don't have the reasons for that, if you don't understand your whys for that, then nobody can help you but you. If you can't motivate yourself to put in that grind, to build up that kind of conditioning so that you can go all out on defense and offense game after game after game, nobody can help you and find that motivation for you but you. All I can tell you is that being able to do that is possible. It's very attainable, but it's just going to take a whole lot of work over a long period of time. So from a physical angle, being out of shape, too out of shape to play really hard defense should not be a long-term problem. But maybe it's some kind of psychological or emotional problem in that you just can't mentally wrap your mind around the idea of how and why you should play so hard on defense. One of my solutions for that is just like, maybe have you thought about the possibility of like, you can mirror that from whatever mentality, psychology that you put into playing offense? Because you clearly play offense hard. You clearly go hard when it comes to time to trying to score. So why? How? How do you do that? I mean, you do it every possession of every game that the ball's in your hand. You go hard on offense. What are your reasons? What's your psychology for that? Whatever it is, can you not mirror it for defense and then just use it defensively as well? It seems logical that you would be able to do that. Something else you can do is pay attention to your favorite players, your favorite defenders, and watch how they play defense. Watch their intensity, watch their aggressiveness, watch how they play. I was watching Dylan Brooks the other day, and I'm not much of a fan of Dylan Brooks, but he can be a very good, aggressive defender. When he plays defense, he plays it angrily. He plays it with like rage and intensity, and it works. Can you do that? Can you focus and use anger and intensity on the defensive end like other players do? You don't have to if that's not your thing, but that's what a lot of players do. Can you do that? Have you tried it? Like I said, the better you understand your whys out here, why you're out here, why it means so much, and thus why you put in all the time and the work on the offensive end. If you understand about offense, then why can't you use that same thing for defense? For me, one of my biggest, strongest whys was like, I'm just curious. I want to see if I can do something. Can I play defense like that all game? Can I be the best defender out here? The best on-ball defender out here? Can I defend the best offensive player every game, regardless of who it is? Can I do that? I'm curious about that endlessly. And because I was endlessly curious, that was able to fuel me to play that kind of high-energy defense every single game. Also, do not forget, defense is not just about defending the ball handler. Not only is defense at least half of the game, because like me personally, I include rebounding and plays like hustling, sprinting after loose balls as part of defense. So not only is defense like half of the game, but a lot of that time, you're not going to be defending the ball handler himself. You'll be playing off the ball defense. And a lot of players think to themselves and use the strategy of like, oh, as long as I'm not defending the ball, I can kind of get lazy. I don't have to be sitting in the chair and moving my feet and moving laterally to stay in front of the person I'm defending because he doesn't have the ball, so he's not that much of a threat. So why put out all that energy when I'm not guarding the ball itself? Then I kind of can get lazy. I kind of get a break. To me, I looked at it as I would much rather do whatever I could to keep the person I'm defending from catching the ball and not becoming the ball handler, so I don't have to sit in the chair, so I don't have to worry about staying right in front of him and building that defensive wall that he can't get around. I would rather force him to not be able to catch the ball, because you still have to work, but that's comparatively less work than being the on-ball defender. So, yeah, you still have to hustle off the ball to keep the player that you're defending from catching the ball. Especially when we're talking about out here at the park recreationally, where there are no rules, there are no there's no hand checking. You do that by having a hand on him all the time. Always, if he doesn't have the ball in his hand, always having contact with him. And especially if he's trying to get into a position where he could have the ball passed to him, now you might as well, what I call, hand wrestle with him, right? Meaning like you have your hands on him and he's got to slap your hands away so he can get his hands up so he can have a chance to catch a pass. Like if you're constantly hand fighting with him, now he's much less likely to even be past the ball. And if the ball is passed to him, because he's so busy trying to keep you off of him, he's going to have a hard time catching the pass. Like, you want to be a pest, a nuisance. You want to annoy the person that you're guarding off of the ball so that it's annoying, so you become annoying to them, and it's difficult for them to even catch a pass, let alone have a pass even passed to them in the first place. Because once they catch the ball, now they're the ball handler. Now all the attention is on them, and now you have no choice but to actually play real solid wall them off defense by moving your feet and staying in front of them. I would rather prevent my man from catching the ball than to have to play on the ball defense. Another bit of advice that you might want to use, and I've alluded to this in other videos about defense in the past, which is you could try something that I used to do on a regular basis, which was when it came to defense, I never really looked at it like I was on defense. I never thought of myself as playing defense or being a defender. I was just, in my mind, I was playing this mind game where, like, I'm always on offense. I'm so over the top, aggressive, and attacking that even in the instances where my team doesn't happen to have possession of the ball, it's not that we're on defense. It's just that it's on us in those instances to go get the ball. Because the whole thing about being on offense is like the offense controls the floor. They control everything that's happening, and the defense has to react to them. To me, I didn't want to be reacting to the other team. I didn't want the other team, just because they were on offense, to dictate what me and my team were going to do as a team. So instead, it was like, okay, not only am I controlling the court when our team has the ball, but we're still going to control the court and the other team when we're on defense by still attacking. So we're not going to allow them to dictate to us what they want to do. We're still attacking them. We're still forcing them to do what we want them to do, just because they have the ball and we currently don't. So instead of on defense, waiting for what they're going to do and then reacting to it, now we're forcing them. We're making them do what we want them to do. We're actively trying to force turnovers. We're actively intentionally trying to get the ball back at all times. We're not waiting for them to make a move, reacting and hoping that they put up a bad shot or they accidentally turn the ball over. That is the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. I wanted to continually be in control and be in the attack mode where they're going to do what I want them to do, whether they have the ball or not. So when that's your mindset, then you're just constantly attacking, which means you're constantly active, you're constantly aggressive, and you have no choice but to be a good defender in that situation. In conclusion, in my opinion, if you want to be an average, regular defender out here, you play that typical lackadaisical defense out here where you don't really play defense, and even if you're defending the ball handler, you don't really play defense. You just sort of pretend and act like you are, when in reality, you're just hoping and praying that as soon as possible, he'll pass to a teammate so you no longer have to be defending the ball, because you don't really want to be putting in the the attention, the effort, the energy into actually playing defense. That makes you a regular defender out here. To be a good defender means you actually put in the energy and the effort into constantly staying in front of whoever you're guarding with, constantly staying with them, in front of them. They never blow by you to get to the basket. They never outquick you because you're always in front of them, because you're always putting in the energy and the effort. That makes you a good defender. But if you want to go to great and to elite, now we're talking about not just having the energy and effort to stay in front of them, but constantly attacking them, having a plan and an intention of why you're attacking them, how you're attacking them, what you're trying to achieve, how you're trying to achieve it. And you don't just do it when you're guarding the ball handler, you also do it when you're guarding whoever, whether they have the ball or not. You always have a plan. If you guarding the ball handler never gets past you. He never gets behind you. And he never puts up a good quality shot either, because you're constantly being a nuisance to him, annoying him, making whatever shooting opportunities he has or takes to be as difficult as possible. And if you're guarding off the ball, then you're constantly being a nuisance. You're constantly being annoying. You're doing everything and anything you can to not let that player be in a position to catch a pass. Both are going to be exhausting, but I would rather go through the process of not letting my player. Defending off the ball can be tiring, but it's usually not nearly as exhausting as guarding the on-ball player. So you might as well put in the effort to stop a player from catching the ball so that he doesn't actually become the ball handler. If you put all of that together, not only can you be a good defender, but you can, over time, if you do it right, if you develop the right strategy smartly enough and apply it well enough consistently over time, you can definitely transcend to becoming not only great, but an elite defender. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, if you think it's going to help you to become a better defender than you already are out here, then please subscribe to the channel. And let us know down in the comments, what do you do to become the best defender you can be? When you step out here to whatever court, how do you set yourself apart as being the best defender on the court at the time? But before you comment, make sure you hit that thanks button down below, because not only does hitting that thanks button highlight any comment you make, making that comment stand out from all the other comments, but it also directly supports the channel. So for anyone that does hit that thanks button, know I genuinely appreciate it. As always, like, share, comment like I said. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever any video goes live on this channel. And until then, I'll see you guys next week.
Built by a few, locking down, no room to breathe. Pressure so tight, they'll wanna leave. Every inch fought, no moment.